I thought the worst part about breaking up with my boyfriend was that he tried to poison me, but I was wrong. I'd been with my boyfriend for almost 2 years. He insisted I move into his apartment after just a few weeks of dating, and at the time, I thought he was the kindest person I'd ever met. But then things started to take a dark turn. Since he paid for rent, I was expected to complete a list of chores, and if I didn't get everything done, he would scream at me and threaten to kick me out. He was manipulative and an expert at gaslighting, and I was young and naive to how dangerous a situation I was in. I didn't start to see things for what they were until he knowingly fed me something that should have killed me. We were at a housewarming for one of his friends, and everyone was expected to bring a dish to share. I've always had a dangerous shellfish allergy, and it was something I was very open about. My boyfriend came up to me during the party and handed me a plate, saying, "I made these cheddar rolls if you're hungry." Almost as soon as I took my first bite, I realized that there were small pieces of shrimp inside. I look up at my boyfriend in horror. He starts to ask me how they taste, but I push past him and sprint to my purse. I inject myself with my emergency EPI pen, but I can still feel my throat closing up. My heart is pounding, and I'm struggling to breathe. The party has stopped, and everyone is staring at me as I frantically search for my phone. Someone starts to ask if I'm okay, when my boyfriend comes up from behind and tells everyone, "Don't worry, she took her EPI pen. I'm going to take her home so that she can rest." I want to scream that I am not all right, but I can't talk. I can barely breathe, and I have to focus on that. I can feel tears welling up in my eyes. Where is my phone? I never lose my phone because I always put it in the same pocket. I feel like I'm losing my mind, and my boyfriend grabs my shoulder, then whispers in my ear, "Let's get you home, shall we?" I feel an awful sensation in my gut, and every bone in my body is telling me not to go. Thankfully, one of the guests steps forward. He quickly introduces himself as Rick and says he's an EMT. He takes one look at me up close and pulls out his phone. "She's not going anywhere without an ambulance. Here, let her lie down on the couch." My boyfriend starts to argue, but Rick quickly shuts it down. She could end up going into shock or worse. As I lie down on the couch, I look over at my boyfriend, and I see a look in his eyes that sends a shiver down my spine. I immediately grab Rick's sleeve and don't let go. Rick doesn't look behind him, but he does look up at the mirrors hanging behind the couch and sees my boyfriend that way. Where everyone else in the room was focused on me, Rick was the only one who noticed something else was wrong. Rick then announced to the group, "I've done 100 trips to the hospital for allergic reactions, so I'll stick with her when the ambulance comes." There was instant approval from the group, but my boyfriend stepped forward and tried to argue that he should be the one to accompany me. I squeezed Rick's arm. Rick shook his head and lied, "Sorry man, EMT only in the back." By the time the ambulance arrived, my boyfriend tried again to get into the ambulance, but Rick signaled for the other EMTs to refuse him. After I was treated at the hospital and was stuck in a bed with an IV in my arm, Rick asked me what happened. Rick insisted I talk to the police after I explained everything. This led to my boyfriend getting arrested, and an investigation revealing a detailed list he had stored on his laptop. It was a list organized by city, name, allergy, and date of ingestion. My boyfriend was a monster who sought out women with intense food allergies and then purposefully fed them what they were allergic to. 2 of the women in his list died from their reactions, and I was almost the 3rd victim. Even with my ex in prison, I have nightmares of him finding me and forcing me to suffer all over again. The physical poisoning wasn't the worst part. The mental poison that continues to terrorize me is the real problem.